Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi. Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Aziz, Pengerusi Kumpulan Permodalan Nasional Berhad PNB, Encik Ahmad Zulkarnain On, Presiden dan Ketua Eksekutif Kumpulan PNB, dan juga ahli-ahli lembaga pengarah serta pengurusan kanan PNB dan ASNB, para pemegang unit amanah saham Bumiputra, wakil-wakil media, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang sedang mengikuti sesi ini secara dalam talian. Bagi pihak Permodalan Nasional PNB, Permodalan Nasional Berhad PNB, majlis mengucapkan terima kasih kepada semua yang sudi bersama kami pada pagi ini untuk mengikuti pengumuman pengagihan pendapatan amanah saham Bumiputra ASB bagi tahun kewangan berakhir 31 Disember 2020. Selaras dengan prosedur yang digariskan oleh Majlis Keselamatan Negara dalam kita menangani wabak COVID-19 yang masih belum reda, PNB bersiaran secara langsung dari Menara PNB di Jalan Tun Razak pagi ini khusus buat para pemegang unit ASB. Anda bersama saya, Aimi Aziz, Ketua Komunikasi PNB yang akan bertugas sebagai moderator pada pagi ini. Tanpa melengahkan masa lagi, saudara-saudari sekalian, saya dengan sukacitanya mempersilakan pengerusi kumpulan PNB untuk menyampaikan ucapan beliau. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I now invite our group chairman yang berbahagia, Tan Sri Dr. Zeti Aziz, to begin today's session. Dipersilakan, Tan Sri.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, para pemegang unit yang dihormati sekalian, Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah, saya bersyukur kerana pada pagi ini saya dapat bersama anda semua secara virtual bagi mengumumkan pengagihan pendapatan amanah saham Bumiputra bagi tahun 2020 dan seterusnya membentangkan perkembangan terkini PNB. Kita semua sedia maklum betapa tahun 2020 merupakan tahun yang sangat mencabar kesan wabak COVID-19 yang melanda seluruh dunia. Walaupun persekitaran sangat mencabar, aset di bawah pengurusan PNB meningkat daripada 312 bilion ringgit kepada 320 bilion ringgit dan unit dalam edaran meningkat sebanyak 3.4%. Selain daripada itu, lebih daripada 200 ribu pelabur baru telah dicatatkan. Ladies and gentlemen, the year 2020 has been one of the most difficult confronting the world as we are experiencing a health, economic and humanitarian crisis all at the same time. The severe impact of the pandemic on the global economy was felt in the first half of 2020. There has, however, been some encouraging developments in the third quarter for most major economies as economic activity has gradually resumed. The reopening of the economies has also provided some reprieve for the commodity markets. The price of crude oil, which has reached its lows in April, has now steadily climbed up in the later part of the year. Meanwhile, the price of the crude palm oil has also been an upward trend since May this year. On the home front, while our economy was significantly affected by the first half of the year, it is now on a recovery path. Sporadic spikes in the number of COVID cases, however, may hamper this progress. Malaysia registered a much reduced contraction by 22.7% in the third quarter, following the declines in all economic sectors, with the exception of the manufacturing sector. On a positive note, Malaysia's current account surplus surged in the third quarter of 2020, and there was also a reduced contraction in the gross fixed capital formation compared to the previous year quarter. It also is encouraging that the ringgit has continued to strengthen against the dollar. Global developments in the fourth quarter has also provided us with some further encouraging prospects. Firstly, several parts of the world have started to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Secondly, the outcome of the 2020 United States presidential election has heightened expectations for better international relations amongst the major economies. Thirdly is the indications for continued accommodative monetary policies, and which have been reinforced by further fiscal stimulus in most countries around the world. These signs of an improving environment is also reflected in the equity market. After a period of high volatility and significant declines by 24% in the first quarter of the year, the KLCI has rebounded to record a year-to-date increase of 2.8%, supported by robust liquidity from retail participation in the market. Assuming an effective distribution of the vaccine across the world, the International Monetary Fund had revised its 2020 global growth forecast to a slightly reduced contraction of 4.4% from an initial projection of a contraction of 5.2%. On the home front, Malaysia's GDP growth rate for the year 2020 is projected by the Ministry of Finance to contract by 4.5%. The ringgit, however, is expected to continue its positive performance into the first half of 2021. The domestic economy is expected to expand by 6.5% or 7.5% in 2021, driven by the fiscal stimulus and improvements in international trade. With the global markets expected to remain highly volatile, the performance of the Malaysian stock market will be primarily influenced by the domestic corporate earnings and the commodity prices, as well as foreign capital flows and the overall market sentiment. Ladies and gentlemen, turning now to the income distribution for Amanah Saham Bumiputra for 2020. ASB was first launched in 1990 as PNB's flagship fixed price unit trust fund as part of PNB's mandate to mobilize savings and increase equity ownership by the Bumiputra community in the corporate sector. The fund's investment objective is to generate long-term competitive and sustainable returns whilst ensuring preservation of unit holders' capital. The continuous growth of ASB's fund size over the years reflects the trust and confidence placed in PNB by our unit holders. The unit in circulation has now surpassed 170 billion units. In 2020, the fund has continued to increase by 3.8% for the year to date, and the number of unit holders has increased with 200,000 new accounts registered in 2020, bringing the total number of ASB unit holders to 10.2 million. we're very pleased to have with us 10.2 million unit holders for this fund. Bagi pihak PNB dan ASNB, saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih yang boleh tidak terhingga kepada semua pemegang unit yang terus memberi kepercayaan kepada kami sepanjang 30 tahun perjalanan ASB. Over the years, ASB income distribution has consistently remained competitive, and despite the negative performance of the KLCI in the 5 years out of the recent 6 years, ASB has continued to generate positive and competitive returns to our unit holders. In order to further strengthen ASB's investment portfolio and to ensure that the fund will continue to have the capacity to deliver long-term sustainable returns, the portfolio has been judiciously diversified into other asset classes and into global markets. As a result, ASB's investment in international public equity has increased to 5.9% as at November 2020, as compared to 3.6% in 2019. Overall, ASB's international exposure and investments into other asset classes, such as fixed income, real estate, and private equity, has increased to 16% from 10% in 2019. Alhamdulillah, I'm pleased to be able to share that this strategy has begun to yield positive results, with the proportion of gross income contribution from international public equity for the first 11 months of ASB's financial year increased from 6.3% in 2019 to 24.2% in 2020. The higher return from international equities for the year has cushioned the lower returns from other assets. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, saya dengan ini mengumumkan jumlah pengagihan pendapatan sebanyak 7.6 bilion ringgit kepada 10.2 juta ringgit. 2 juta pemegang unit amanah saham Bumiputera bagi tahun ini. Pengagihan pendapatan ini merangkumi pengagihan pendapatan sebanyak 4.25 sen seunit. Tahun ini juga sempena sambutan ulang tahun ASB yang ke-30, PNB berbesar hati untuk mengumumkan pengagihan ihsan sebanyak 0.75 sen seunit untuk 30,000 unit. Yang pertama kepada semua pemegang unit ASB bagi tahun kewangan berakhir 31 Disember 2020. Pengagihan pendapatan ini memberikan pulangan efektif sebanyak 5% kepada pemegang unit mempunyai 30,000 dan ke bawah. Bagi pemegang unit yang lebih daripada 3,000 unit, mereka juga menerima manfaat pengagihan ihsan ini. Ia adalah tanda penghargaan kami kepada semua pemegang unit ASB yang terus setia bersama kami sepanjang 30 tahun dana ini diperkenalkan. In conjunction with the 30th anniversary of ASB, PNB will be distributing a one-off ihsan payment for the first 30,000 units, which will benefit all 10.2 million ASB unit holders. The effect of the ESAN will be most pronounced for those with 30,000 units and below, as they will enjoy an effective distribution rate of 5% on their unit holdings. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 has undoubtedly been a challenging year, with the COVID-19 pandemic taking lives, severely impacting economic activity, and bringing significantly higher volatility to financial markets across the globe. Despite this challenging environment, PNB has managed to continue to deliver a competitive income distribution for its unit holders. Going forward, PNB will do our utmost to navigate these challenging times to ensure that we continue to deliver sustainable returns to our unit holders. We will continue the progress made in our diversifying of our investment portfolio so that we may build a truly all-weather portfolio with an optimal mix of asset classes and geographies. We remain cautiously optimistic about the future, and we will continue to explore new investment opportunities in this ever-changing environment so as to provide sustainable returns to our unit holders, whilst prudently safeguarding their investments. To our unit holders, we greatly value the trust and confidence that you have placed in us over the recent 4 decades. We will always continue to uphold this trust. Before I conclude, I would like to say thank you to all the team at PNB who have all worked very hard this year to ensure that we can conclude this year on a more optimistic note. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri, for sharing the macro review of 2020 and the outlook for 2021, and also announcing the income distribution for ASB. Next, may I invite our President and Group Chief Executive, Encik Ahmad Zulkarnain, on to present on the progress updates of PNB. Persilakan, Encik Zul.
Thank you, Aimee. Rakan-rakan media yang dihormati, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah, saya amat berbesar hati dan sukacita kerana dapat bersama-sama tuan-tuan dan puan-puan pada hari ini secara maya. Saya harap semua sedang berada dalam keadaan sihat dan selamat. Seperti yang kita semua ketahui, 2020 merupakan tahun yang sangat mencabar. Pandemik COVID-19 telah menular dengan begitu cepat sekali dan memberi kesan yang begitu besar kepada ekonomi global dan pasaran kewangan di seluruh dunia. Sebagai institusi pelaburan yang giat di pasaran kewangan, tahun 2020 adalah satu tahun yang banyak cabaran kepada kami, tetapi alhamdulillah dengan strategi pelaburan jangka panjang serta pengurusan risiko yang mapan, kedudukan dan prestasi kewangan PNB terus kukuh dan stabil. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 has been an active year for PNB amidst a drastically changed economic, social, and also working environment. We launched our long-term strategic plan earlier this year, and like everyone else, in March, we had to quickly adapt to a new normal by accelerating our digital strategy for our various products and services. We launched an online withdrawal facility for our unit holders, and we also held a 100% online Minggu Saham Digital in November, a game-changing digital initiative in lieu of our normal Minggu Saham Amanah that we have held over the past 20 years. In response to the nation's needs, PNB was able to support the federal government's COVID-19 related initiatives with a total contribution of 23 million ringgit this year. In terms of PNB's overall performance for the year, I am pleased to report that PNB recorded 3 key achievements, namely resilient financial performance in a period of very volatile markets, continued progress in our portfolio diversification strategy, and also enhancing our unit holders' experience and also broadening our product offerings. Firstly, PNB's asset under management has increased by 2.7% during the year to 320.5 billion ringgit as at November 2020, reflecting continued trust by our unit holders. Despite difficult economic conditions, our unit holders continue to be long-term investors, as illustrated by the increase in our assets under management. Units in circulation for all of our funds also continued to grow by 3.4%, reaching 263.2 billion units. We continue to welcome new unit holders during the year, with an increase of 200,000 unit holders nationwide, taking the total number of accounts to 14.5 million. The ASB income distribution has yet again surpassed its benchmark, the Maybank 12-month fixed deposit rate, by 2.4%. This reflects a positive trend for PNB, as all of our fixed price unit trust funds have surpassed their benchmarks for 2020. We have made great progress in executing our diversification strategy. PNB's global public equity investments have increased to 8.3% as compared to 5.7% the year before. Our total global exposure across multiple asset classes now stands at 11.9%, an increase of approximately 4% during the year. Our diversification has begun to show positive results, where international investments delivered a larger contribution to PNB's gross income in 2020. International public equity contributed 27.3% of total income, an increase from 10.6% the year before. This clearly illustrates the importance of diversification in providing competitive and sustainable returns to our unit holders. Having said that, domestic equities remains the central component of our portfolio. Whilst the overall performance of our strategic and core companies were affected by the challenging market environment, underperforming the KLCI during the year, we believe that there are opportunities to create or unlock value, and this will be a key focus for PNB in 2021. Our team will continue to work closely with our companies to seek opportunities to deliver superior shareholder return and overcome this period of underperformance relative to the broader market. Finally, in 2020, Amanah Saham Nasional Berhad has continued with our strategies towards enhancing our customers' experience. ASB celebrated its 30th anniversary this year, and in celebrating this milestone, investment campaigns and contests were organized to convey our appreciation towards our investors while taking the opportunity to reach out to new unit holders. We also introduced several important initiatives, such as an online withdrawal facility, the digitization of the estate management services, and the introduction of the ASB Loan Help Desk, where unit holders can seek advice and assistance on matters relating to their ASB financing. During the year, we launched our very first global focus unit trust fund called ASN Imbang 3 Global. This global fund invests up to 65% in global financial markets and is primarily catered to investors with a preference for more international focused investment portfolios. We have seen great demand for the fund, with assets under management of 415 million ringgit just 2 months after the launch, and continuing to grow. PNB took a further step this year in executing our overall digital business strategy. We launched Raise Malaysia, an application that utilizes virtual spare change to automatically invest into our funds based on risk-based personalized investment portfolios. It is a unique way for unit holders to make the most of every cent they spend by adopting the concept of saving through spending. To date, Raise has recorded more than 160,000 sign-ups, 40,000 investment accounts, and is currently managing more than 8 million in funds. Last month, we proudly introduced Minggu Saham Digital, a digital adaptation of Minggu Saham Amanah Malaysia. The week-long edutainment live stream ended with a resounding success after having recorded 2.2 million views and garnering 7.5 million unique reach. We are extremely pleased with the outstanding reception, which has far exceeded our expectations. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 has radically changed the working environment. I would like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues who have adapted well to the changes demanded by 2020. We've managed to reduce the number of staff working in the office to only 25% during the MCO and CMCO. It has not been an easy year for all Malaysians, and our staff have had to adjust tremendously to the way we work, how we communicate, how we interact, and how we come together to deliver the mission that we have all been tasked with. All of the achievements I have mentioned earlier would not have been possible without the unwavering commitment, determination, and sheer hard work of the PNB staff, and I would like to take this opportunity to extend my thanks and gratitude for their dedication to the cause. Moving forward, PNB will continue to uphold our mandate in providing value to our unit holders in 2021 and beyond. Firstly, we will continue with our diversification efforts for all asset classes. Our goal is to ensure maximum efficiency for our deployment plans, maintain sufficient amounts of liquidity, and also sharpening our value proposition. PNB is looking to increase the value of our strategic and core companies by having productive and continuous engagement with all of these companies. We will be sharing our clear aspirations and expectations, look to further enhancing governance, and review various value creation plans. Lastly, PNB will be leveraging on the momentum gained in 2020 by further accelerating our digital transformation initiatives, which includes improvement of our core systems and also enhancements of services to our unit holders. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 has indeed been a challenging year for all of us. Despite the difficult environment, we continue to deliver sustainable returns to our unit holders, distributing good returns against our benchmarks. We expect similar challenges to persist in 2021, and we will have to live with COVID-19 for a while longer while we wait for the vaccines to be rolled out nationwide. Notwithstanding these challenges, PNB will continue to uphold our mandate and remain true to who we are, a long-term investor focused on delivering sustainable returns to our 12 million unit holders. Together, today, PNB is as agile as ever, and we are well equipped to explore new opportunities. Before I end, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to the members of the media for attending today. You are very important in helping us communicate our mission and performance to all Malaysians, and for that, I thank you in advance. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Encik Zul. Dengan taklimat prestasi PNB oleh Encik Zulkarnain itu tadi, berakhir sudah Majlis Pengumuman Pengagihan Pendapatan ASB bagi tahun kewangan 2020. Setinggi-tinggi terima kasih kami ucapkan kepada semua pemegang unit yang mengikuti sesi ini di Facebook PNB. Terima kasih dan Assalamualaikum.